I stumbled on two videos, one from someone from abroad and one from somebody in Lagos. And basically, both of them are calling out architects for the ugliness of our buildings, streetscapes, and skylines. So, dear sir and ma, if you believe too that we should call out or hold architects responsible for how ugly our buildings and skylines are looking without being apologetic and without sounding defensive, allow me to show you that that is not only a misconception, but equally a distraction. First of all, I don't know whether to call this availability heuristic bias because most people are only familiar with architects or engineers than they are with other professionals in the built environment, or whether it's attribution bias because everyone knows that architects are responsible for how buildings look. So when buildings are looking ugly, hold architects responsible. But whichever it is, I totally get it. In fact, my motivation for studying architecture was so that I could influence city skylines. And every literature and history that were available to me at that time propped the architect as being responsible for city planning or city development. However, this case is exactly the way a layman like me would believe that doctors are responsible for health and medicine practice, whereas the major and the key decision makers don't even wear lab coats. And that makes my point that I totally get and understand why you believe that architects hold creative geniuses and everything they touch turns to gold. However, times have changed. And right now, it is he who pays the piper dictates the tune. I mean, gone are those days when you could design and propose an Eiffel Tower to a Lagos state government where there is no immediate revenue to be made from it. Because apart from the value and appreciation for art, architecture is a capital sensitive practice, meaning only a few architects can afford to design, fund, and build it exactly the way they want it. And because of this, most architects perform only drafting roles. That is, they are only employed by owners and developers to draw without further involvement in the execution or construction phases of such buildings. And the effect that this has on city planning is that architect involvement in city planning and development is just about 10 to 15%. So let's go back to Piper and the payer, which are financiers, sponsors, and developers, whose involvement is totally cash focused. And for these people, there is no time for ceramic, no flying buttress, no unnecessary cantilever, and no overcompensation of aesthetic. Just basic form follows function. What they want is draw four corners, hard walls and blocks, hard windows, hard roofs, hard painting, and thereafter, how much does it cost to build and how much can we make from it? And this is further connected to the value and appreciation for art, in that when this happens at city planning level, the little consideration left for art appreciation gets thrown away. So architects are important, and architecture is the foundation for city planning. But finance and funding is equally as important as architecture in what goes into housing, planning, and development. So I hope that with these few points of mine, you can understand why our buildings and developments have gone back to form follows function. I hope this helps.